So earlier in the show, talked a little bit about, do the Browns decide to stay with John Johnson III, or is he a post-June 1st cut to save $9.75 million? If they cut him, they got to look at safeties. Here are some free agent safeties, and this one will drive Browns fans crazy. Jordan Poyer was a special teams guy and has developed into a pretty good safety for the Buffalo Bills. They project his contract 2 years, $8.5 million. Another guy that will certainly get some looks if the Browns do in fact go looking. 49ers safety, Jimmy Ward, 2 years, $13.5 million, $8 million guaranteed. And here's another name to listen out for, Marcus Epps. They project Epps, who's with the Eagles, so Jim Schwartz will have some familiarity with him. 2 years, $13.5 million, $7.5 million guaranteed. So, Quincy, you see those numbers, and there's some savings if they do, in fact, decide to move on from JJ3. And all three of those guys are more of the single high free safety than John Johnson is. But having said that, he's an instinctual player who may be more suited to play in Jim Schwartz's defense than he was in Joe Woods.
Yeah, we know that John Johnson, like when he's playing at his highest level, he's a Pro Bowl level player. Like we can't say the same about like Mike Epps or Jimmy Ward. Jordan Poyer, he's been close to that level. He was a former, I think it was an undrafted free agent that was here for a while, right? But you know, to me, the question is this: how important is free safety in this defense? Right, like that's got to be the question they got to figure out. Is free safety one of those positions that you're going to emphasize, or are you going to use strong safety as an extra linebacker position? That's going to be more important for a lot of the things that you want to do, which is crash up front and get into run fits. If that's the case, keeping John Johnson makes more sense, and then figuring it out. You know, maybe you keep John Johnson and then you figure out a way to add one of those guys at $6 or $7 million. And then you figure out a role for Grant Delpit, or you feel like, hey, man, do you feel like Grant Delpit can give you a similar level of performance than any of those guys on that list, and you could just keep John Johnson and put him at his natural position? That's going to be what Jim Schwartz has to figure out. I don't think that spot. I think a lot of people are freaking out about free safety. I get why, because the communication issues made free safety seem like a bigger problem than it was, but I think it was the communication. And I don't think it's going to be that hard of a hole to plug. I think you have some options there. I think Grant Delpit could be interesting for that free safety spot in a different defense.